In this lecture, we're going to be creating our IK bones. These are bones that are used to control the movement of our rigs. They are our points of manipulation and are normally located outside of the mesh. Basically, the IK bones that we're going to be creating are going to be created with the objects of being connected to the elbow, the knee, and the wrist and ankle. So those joints that I've just mentioned, we're going to create IK bones for those joints. And this is how we're going to create a rig that can move based on those joints. After that, I'm going to give you a challenge. So let's create our IK bones in Blender. What we need to do to create these bones is we need to go into our side orthodox view. So we're going to press 3. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create the wrist and ankle. Now to create a wrist and ankle, we're going to first of all select, if we zoom in, we can see that the joint at the end is selected. And we're just going to extrude this out. Lock it along the y-axis, and that will do nicely. Now we're going to come down to this joint, if we zoom in, so this joint is selected, and we're going to do the same, E, Y to extrude out. Now I'm going to make that one a little bit smaller. Now what we actually want is the IK bones should be disconnected. So we're going to select these two IK bones and we're going to clear them from their parents. So we're going to press Alt P and we're just going to say clear parent. Now if we grab these two, we can move them about. Excellent. I'm going to right click to cancel that. Next, I'm going to create a knee bone and an elbow bone. Now these are actually the pivot points for how our elbow and how our knee bends. Therefore, they have to be quite a way away from the body. This means that we're not going to extrude these bones out. We're just going to create them on their own. So I've centered my 3D cursor to where I would like the... should be slightly higher, I reckon. No, slightly lower. Yeah, there we go. This is where I'm going to want my knee joint to be based off of. So I'm just going to hit Shift A. Fantastic. There's our knee bone. Now I'm going to come up here and I'm going to press Shift A. And there we have our elbow. So if we go into front view, we're going to make sure that these are in the correct position. I actually think that the knee itself is really good. That's a really good starting point for us to work with. I think we could make it a little bit bigger. Doesn't really matter too much, but just to make it more visible. The elbow bone we do have to move though, so we're gonna grab X and just move that in line with the elbow. I think that will do nicely. So what you see now is basically what you need to create a human rig. So we have our spine, the center of our body, and we have a series of bones there. We have arms, legs, and we also have IK control bones for our wrists, knee, ankle, and elbow. In the animation section, you're going to be learning how we can use these to actually animate our human rig. But for now, there are just a couple more things that we need to do. One of those things you're going to do now. If we click on where it says names under the display, we can see that all of our bones have been given names. If we pan around, we can see that every bone has its own name. Now, because we called our first bone spine, every bone after that's been extruded out of it has been given the name spine.00 and then the number. If we didn't give it a name, then it's simply called bone.001 bone. So I think the first bone not connected to the spine was this one, because it's just called bone. What I want you guys to do now is I want you to name all of your bones. So I want you to name a lower spine, chest, neck, head, elbow, etc. Okay guys, so do that now and I will see you in the next lecture.